Alright, and the game is now beginning. So hello everyone, this is going to be Crota giving you a shoutcast by myself. I do not have Matron with me. This was a last minute request from Team OptiK to help cast their tournament. This is game 1 of the semifinals between SCDFinesse versus DarkChiGo. It is going to be a Protoss mirror match here on Terminus SE. I'm trying to figure out the version of Terminus this is. It looks like there are destructible rocks leading into that third base. There is no vent area in your main base, so that may be the difference between Terminus SE versus Terminus RE. I really don't know the difference. Now, in a Protoss versus Protoss mirror match like this, you got to be very, very careful, and you got to know, yeah. I do not know who's pinging all over the place, but anyways, you got to be very, very careful because the Protoss versus Protoss mirror match, like many of the mirror matches, are very fragile. I would normally think I would normally say that Zerg is perhaps the most volatile, in that if you accidentally train a round of drones as opposed to, say, a round of Zerglings or a round of Roaches, that may be GG. But Protoss is not too far behind. If you are unable to scout out what your opponent is doing, you may fall behind very, very quickly, as well as we're going to see now some early scouting coming in from DarkChiGo. Unfortunately, he will be scouting in the wrong direction, meaning that it will be quite some time before he figures out where his opponent is. So now going down the ramp and going back up as well, just taking a look around, and I'm hoping to find his opponent. It will be just a little bit longer until he comes across his opponent. Meanwhile, we are going to get an earlier gateway by Finesse. Finesse going for that 12 gateway, now training up that probe and chrono boosting. Meanwhile, over here, it was a little bit delayed just because of that earlier scouting probe. Actually, no, we also see a scouting probe coming in from Finesse, and I couldn't actually spot Finesse's probe on the map. That pink is just very, very difficult to see on the minimap. My apologies. It looks like that they scouted in about similar times in opposite directions. So it will be quite some time before they find each other as they keep on moving along their merry way. We are going to be now getting that second pylon. Both players pretty much doing the same exact build. The simulators are already down, so you can see DarkChiGo is a little bit behind in terms of Finesse, and we'll see whether or not a high-ranked diamond player can put pressure on a high-ranked Masters player here on Terminus. Terminus is a map, however, that these two players may not be that familiar with. It is very common in tournament play, but it is not in the ladder pool at all, so if they only practice on the ladders, then they may have a very difficult time trying to figure out what their opponent will be doing and what will be going for. Probe now walking up that ramp and will be able to get some information. Pretty much sees that one assimilator, sees that cybernetics core. Cybernetics core should be chrono boosted, and now also getting up that earlier zealot. Meanwhile, back over here, pylon now down, zealot, and now chrono boosting that warp gate research as well. We should be getting a stalker coming in momentarily. There it is. There's that stalker, as both players now getting up a very, very strong early presence with a zealot and a stalker. That's pretty much what you expect to see in this level, or in this mirror matchup so far. Now, taking a look at both players sitting at 20 probes versus 19. And now this scouting probe will be able to return home. Same thing with this one. So this is very, very important to be able to return home with your scouting probe. This probe by Finesse perhaps should actually try to activate a Zelnaga Watchtower, as this Zealot now making a move around the map will quickly come off to the north, in addition to one Stalker. I believe the scouting probe did see, yes, he did scout that Stalker there, and now he's going to go back in to take a quick look, and both players are going into that all-critical 4-gate tech. That warp gate research should be completed in just a moment. We should be getting a pylon here, perhaps another pylon here as well, enabling them to warp in units. It looks like DarkChiGo going to be warping in units as well. And it may really come down to who has a sentry to block their ramp. If you have a sentry to block your ramp, you can stop all of those units. It doesn't look like any proxy pylons will be set up in order to warp in units up onto that high ground, as a pylon now coming into play here. These gateways are now upgrading into warp gates as well. Is it going to be enough time? You can see already a round of stalkers now coming in from behind, so this is going to turn into a very, very quick engagement in just a moment. No proxy pylon down over here yet, so it looks like Chigo going to be on the defensive end but the defensive end doesn't really give you that much of an advantage, a defender's advantage, as it is. We're talking about Warp Gate tech here, and now both sides battling it out. Zealots engaging. There you go. Down goes one, and it looks like Finesse focus firing, and I believe the focus firing may just be enough, as another round of Zealots and Stalkers are now engaging. It looks like the lower hit point Stalker is moving to the back of that army there. It is taking a look at the army sizes, 1,050 versus 825. The Zealots will now lead the charge, absorbing much of that damage since they are much slower, but we make it a force field, and there's the force field there. The units need to back off. I'm not quite sure why the Zealots are even stuck in that position. Finesse needs to pull back there, perhaps now trying to warp in some units onto that high ground as well, and it looks like the ramp, it has been taken down. Not quite sure why he's not engaging, as he has that very small window of opportunity. That proxy pylon almost done. Another 5, and it looks like that's one low hit point sentry is now taken down, and Finesse with an army presence inside the base with a larger number of units may be able to get off a lot of damage. DarkChiGo in a bit of trouble. He does have a proxy pylon over here as well, but I can't imagine him trying to actually warp in units at all. More Zealots are going to be engaging here. Zealots are engaging back and forth. It looks like these two Zealots will get taken down rather quickly, going after the lower hit point Stalkers, focusing down units one at a time, and Chigo says GG. Alright, I am absolutely confused. Oh, there was a Zealot. How? I can't even see a green Zealot in there at all. What the heck? Okay, so yeah, there was a Zealot. A round of Zealots did make its way in and was able to actually destroy the rest of these units here. So DarkChiGo takes the game. I didn't even see that Zealot. I was looking at the minimap, I swore, and I couldn't find it. Alright, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Game 2 in this mirror match between DarkChiGo and SCDFinesse.